where we're going to paint this character. Um, we're going to paint this character with different colors. And you can choose, you can come up with your own color code. So over here in the color tab, you have your basic colors, your red, green, and blue. And you have black, vectorized line, and you have your white. Um, I'm going to choose my color palette for this character, but when you're coloring your character, you can choose what colors you want. Now, let us start with the shirt. If I double click on the color palette here, this little red rectangle square, it brings up the color picker, which is this single color wheel here. And what you can do, you can move it around and choose different colors. But you also have the multi-wheel mode. When you click on the multi-wheel mode, we are given a wide variety of colors to choose from, and we can move around in different areas and choose different colors. And you'll notice here that once you start to play around and experiment with the colors, it starts to come up, you start to see the recent colors being displayed, and it creates somewhat of a history going down. Now, when we're choosing a color, let's say I want to choose a purplish color. What you also need to pay attention with in your color picker is the color code. You have two types of color code. You have HSV and you have RGB. You see, with any graphic software, whether it's Medibank, Krita, Photoshop, Illustrator, each software enables you to have utilize the different color codes. And here we're going to be focusing on the RGB. And remember, RGB stands for red, green, and blue. Now, we have 255 shades of red, 255 shades of green, and 255 shades of blue. And to get this purple color we're seeing here, it's actually mixing shade red, the red color, which is at shade 158, shade 0 for the green, and shade well, blue is at 195, and this mixture here gives us this purplish color. So when you start to move around your thing here, notice that the color code changes, so that it's like the colors are mixing to get you those different types of colors. So I want to just select back the purple, because this is going to be the color of his shirt. Now, once we've selected that now, we can use our paint bucket. This here is our paint bucket, and we can now click the areas that we want to paint. So for example, I would like to paint this area here, which is his shirt. So click in that area and notice it is painted with that purple. So pretty much straightforward. However, sometimes when you're trying to paint, it's not going to paint. That's because you have a small gap in your drawings. Earlier, you would have realized that I was using the contour editor and the snap to grid, the snap to contour to make sure that the points are snapped together. Because if you have a very small opening in your area here, it can prevent it from being painted. You snap to grid and you just snap your points together to ensure that your areas are sealed tightly. I think that here might have a little gap opening, so we just want to make sure that this area, notice that this control point is not touching here. They want to make sure that that snaps, so that when the paint fill goes in, it is completely filled. I'm going to go over back to my paint bucket. Let me turn off the snap to contour. To the paint bucket and paint that area. Paint. Okay, now you see what happened a while ago? Notice that I just I wanted to paint the sleeve. But instead of painting just the sleeve, it actually paint down to the arm. This is not what I want. So what does that mean? That means that there's a small opening in the line art. So I have to now go in closely and examine it and ensure that so see, I'm assuming that right here is where the issue might be. So we go to our contour editor. Within the tool properties here you go to, you click on the snap to contour and make sure that you close up the areas like that. What we can also do as well is when you go on to your paint bucket tool and you go over to your tool properties, there's another feature within your paint bucket tool that's called close gap or no close gap. Now it's this little this horseshoe shape, this little U shape here, that's called no close gap. You can click on the little slider here and it goes all the way up to 10. So you can close very large gaps or you can choose it to be at a lower number. Let us leave it at 4 or 5 for now. So when I go here and click the paint bucket and click within that area, notice that the paint is not leaking out onto the hand. It is actually painting within the sleeve. So we have the color of the shirt here. Now, what else I want to do? I want to notice that here I change this color here to purple and it's now called red. But instead of like calling it purple or red, we come up with actual names for the body part. So in this case, we can call it shirt or we can call it torso. I'm going to label this shirt. So I double click on the name right here and I'm going to change the name from red to shirt and press enter to confirm it. And as you can see, this purple color is now the shirt color. So we have that established already. I'm going to give him brown here. So you know what? Let me start with the pants. I'm going to use a blue color for the pants, but I don't like this shade of blue. So I'm going to double click on the color and I'm going to play around with the colors. I want a lighter shade blue. Once again, you can come up with your own color code. I'm just doing this for, you know, because that is my own creativity and appeal. Let's go with that shade of blue. Notice it set the color code right there. And then what we can do, you go to our paint bucket. Now be careful with your paint bucket because when you click and hold, it gives you access to other paint tools. We want the paint function. We don't want ink or paint unpainted or repaint. We want to make sure that we're on the paint function. So remember, if you click on, just like with your line tool, if you click and hold, you get access to other tools such as your rectangle and line. Your paint bucket also shares that tool as well. So I'm going to click here, and that is the color of the young man's pants. Let us focus on the hair and on the shoes. Now let me use this green color. I'm going to give him a brown color for the shoes. So I'm trying to mix the colors here until like I get a particular green, I mean brown. The brown is right here, so I kind of catch something there. You know what? Let's go with something like, let's go with something like that. And then now your paint, I don't like all that. Let's go with That's another thing as well. Once you set the color here, you can always double click on it and you can change the color from here. You see it updating in real time. Alright, we can work with this. Let me have that, and I'm going to make this part be white. Now you would also notice that I can call this I'm going to call this shoe instead of it being named green. So it's very important that you name your color palettes as you go along. So this color is for the shoe. I'm going to label this as teeth and shoe. You can act, well, you know what? It would be better practice if I just duplicate this white color. You see the plus button here? If you click on the plus button, notice what it does? It duplicates the color right here. I can move it up. I'm going to name this one teeth. And this one shoe 2. And you can actually click and drag them. That's the check. Right? And then the teeth, you know, he has his teeth must be white. Well, it doesn't have to be white. I'm just saying so. So, you know, he takes good care of his teeth. In this area here, I can make it be black. You know, the back of his mouth is kind of black. Then now, let us come up with the hair color. I'm going to give him a black hair color. So instead of like using back the same black, I'm going to duplicate that and name this here. You can actually name the color palette here. And press enter. So that is here. That he has black here. I can use the same color. Like white. Back. This area here is the eye white. Um, let's come up with a different. I'm going to duplicate this color here by pressing the plus button here, and it creates a new. I'm going to use this as the pupil, or we can call it iris, but I'm going to call it pupil. And I'm going to change the color, something like that. And pupil look like that. The only thing that he needs right now is some, no, kind of need. I wonder if black would look better here. I think black works, and I think that the character needs some eye white to kind of show some reflection. I think black would work better for the pupil. This here would be the here part. There's black here. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and figure out what skin color this character should have. I'm going to give him a dark skin color, African dark skin color. So here's what you can also do. You see, what you can do, you can go onto the internet. I'm going to share my web browser with you. Hold on. So what you can do, you can go onto the internet, and what I did, look at what I typed in the search bar right here. I typed in dark skin RGB values. Remember I was talking earlier about RGB color codes. And you have hex, and you have CMYK. Notice here it bring up a result that said dark skin tone color scheme. And notice we're seeing RGB 77, 42, 34. So I'm going to click on this link. So you know that you have different shades of dark complexion. So I'm going to click on this link and see what are some of the color codes that we can utilize. So these are the different shades. And notice here, it even gives you additional information about it, such as brown coffee. And see, it give you the hex code, it give you the RGB code, and it give you the CMYK code. Here's another one that says royal brown, gold. It have different types, you know, dark gold, coconut, liver, or so, you know, so you have different. So, I'm liking this one. I'm liking the bold color. Notice that the RGB value is 113, 65, 55. So we're focusing on the RGB value. And what this is telling me is that the red is at 113, the green is at 65, and the blue is at 55. So let's go over to Toon Boom. I'm going to add a new color palette. So I can choose any one of these color palettes. Let's say I even choose this one and I press the plus button. It creates a new color. And all I have to do is simply double click on it, and it would give me the color wheels. But no, remember here where we have the RGB. Remember before we want to get red at 113, green at 65, and blue at 55. So let's type those values in. So red is 113. So I'll just highlight this value, type in 113. Green is at 65, and blue is at 55. And there you go. It comes up with the actual color code. All we have to do is close here. And see, it have so now we have the exact color code that we selected. So you can choose any shade of dark complexion, and you can use the same thing when you're doing Caucasian complexion. You can go on the internet and type in Caucasian complexion RGB values, and it will give you the same type of values. So I'm going to label this skin. So instead of just having like a regular name like brown or something, I just name it skin. So you know that this is the character's skin complexion. And you go to your paint bucket, you paint those areas, paint the neck, you paint the arms, paint these little areas. You will have some areas that are not painted. All you have to do is just zoom in and just use the paint bucket and paint those areas. See how this little area giving me a little bit of problem? Just zoom in some more and pan to the area and you just use the paint bucket and fill it. And we go over this part. This thumb has been left out. Go to my paint bucket and paint that. We have the ankle part, the leg right here. Paint. So that is the character's skin complexion. It just looks weird for a character like this to have freckles. Black people don't really have that much freckles. You know, I'm going to take the freckles off of his face, seeing that it's a black character. But notice, like, let's say for example, notice I already paint the area and I'm deleting the little circles that are created, but notice what it did. It painted around the area, around the circles. It will be easy to fill those areas back. So that shouldn't be a problem. And just use my paint bucket and just fill those areas. There we go. There are a few areas that, you know, kind of are a little bit off. Like here, this little part here, the ears. I guess it's because, let me just see if I can use my contour editor to kind of move that down. Or it should be. But there's a little gap in his mouth with the black area. Yeah. And you can tell what color you're on, you know, if you look at the bottom right corner here where it says skin, you know, you can tell that you're on the skin color. When I click on this, it says blue. This should actually be named as shorts. So, you know, you have your stuff labeled. Very important. Paint this little area as black. So, all right, so looking at this character, he's already painted. And if you've done, because remember for your own, you know, you're going to do two views. We're going to do the front view and the 3/4 front. We're going to rig two views together.
Sir, one question. Why does the front view don't have freckles and the other view has?
I deleted it.
Oh.
You just joined in, Mason. I didn't know you were. Yes. All right. Yeah. You see, because me did choose a dark complexion for him, and it just look weird for a dark child to have freckles. So we just remove the freckles. You know. I just might think. I just made it do that still. So I was about to go ahead and delete the freckles here. I want to delete these. I mean, you can delete them or you cannot delete them. The whole purpose of this lesson is just to learn the process of rigging. They're just the same thing. You just use like the skin color here now. You just select the skin color, and it's very easy. You just paint. Pupil, select the pupil color. You have the eye white. What did you use for the eye white? Let me use the dropout tool to sample this. So, or teeth. I never created an eye. I use the teeth color, the same teeth color for this. Can still work. Usually you want to like have your different, but I mean I realize that there's a duplication of the white color, so I mean, just the eye white can be shared with the, you know, the teeth color. Below, you know, these are the teeth and the black area here. And all right. Let me get rid of this little area here. I kind of did a little bit of an overlap. I'm just going to use the cutter tool and just cut this off so that I have the neck. But really and truly supposed to, it'll be fine. Alright, just use the skin color for the neck. Alright, notice here it's giving me a bit of problem sometime when you zoom out or zoom in closer. That can help fix it. But if that's not helping, that means that there's a small gap somewhere. You have to use like your contour editor and make sure that your gaps are properly secured. And you snap to contour. Oops. There must be some kind of small opening somewhere. Just have to snap this. Alright, so those areas are snapped. we're going to use the paint tool to just paint here. Still giving me problem. All right, I'm going to increase the close gap under the paint tool here to 10 and see if that. Oops. That one's giving problem. All right, so I'll get back to that later. Let us paint the shirt. Let's paint the color of the shirt. Go to the skin. Then you have the hair. This part have it too as well. Pants. This part, I'll leave that for later. The shorts, paint that. Skin, paint that. Shoe, let's try shoe too. Paint the shoe part here. All right. This here, this hand, you'll notice that I have this hand down here. There's a reason why I put this hand down here, because what happens is that, let me show you what I had in plan. If I am to move this hand up, this hand is supposed to go behind him. If you look, if I was to turn on the character, turn around and turn, let me just turn off the drawing. Notice that there was no, like when you're drawing this character, you're not seeing the other hand in the 3/4 view. So I had to draw the 3/4 hand, like imagine what it would look like and draw it, so that because if he was to do a 3/4 walk cycle, he's going to raise his hand. So that is why I draw the hand, but because it's one solid drawing, it's not layered. So I can't put the hand behind the torso because we don't reach the stage yet where we're cutting up the character. So that is why the hand is right here. I'm just going to go ahead and paint the sleeve and paint the skin of the hand area, so that when we're cutting up the character, we just put it in its correct place. And then those little areas that you can't get, you make sure you zoom in. Like you see this little area didn't paint. Just click on your paint tool and just paint that little area. Yeah, oh, it's just, back to the neck. The neck was giving problems. Oh my goodness. Something is not right here. Let me check. There has to be some kind of open gap that is right here. Trying to figure it out. That's the problem, you know. This little vector line here. Kind of distorted. Tell you what. Perhaps not to. There we go. Get it. Had to do with some kind of contour point.